very well today. Today we're going to be doing some leveling in the Warlords of Draenor expansion. Sorry. I am playing a Lightforged Draenei Protection Paladin. This is in the Shadowlands pre-patch that came out earlier this week. I'm very excited to play and level up some characters. I've already leveled up a mage from start to finish, from level 1 to level 50. It was actually quite a lot faster than I thought. So I'm very excited to try and get plenty of characters. I actually, the mage I made specifically so that I could unlock the allied races on Alliance, because in Shadowlands I'd actually like to play on both Horde and Alliance. Apologies if the game noise is louder than it should be. I want to try and find a good balance so it doesn't overwhelm the, like my voice, basically. I'm going to try turning it up just a little bit. So as I was saying, the expansion, I am very excited for what they may have in store. I can't wait to see the new zones, see the new abilities that we'll be getting, and I'm very excited to see all of the covenants in the next expansion. They all look like amazing, especially the Night Fae. I'd have to say the Night Fae are probably who is the covenant I'm the most excited about. Sorry about that. Hopefully the keyboard and mouse aren't too loud. But yeah, the Night Fae look really cool. I really love I can't remember their exact name, but the Queen character seems like she's gonna be quite an awesome character. The Venthyr are probably my second favorite covenant. I mean, honestly, they're all really good. I'm gonna definitely be trying to have a lot of ults to at least experience what all of the covenants have. Get the various transmogs and whatnot. I'm also very excited for the new dungeons and raids. I'm typically PvE. I'll turn the sound back down. I actually think this might be a little better. I PvE a lot. I really enjoy doing dungeons and raids, especially the Mythic Plus. So I'm very excited to see how it's gonna turn out. Especially because now you can only hit like so many mobs in AoE. So I think that'll definitely make things a lot more interesting. I'm actually doing this through the Karmi Time Walking campaign, and I actually really enjoy going back into the previous expansions and leveling in those worlds. On my mage, I leveled in Mists of Pandaria, and I pretty much went from I made a Worgen, so I did like the Worgen starting zone from level 1 until about 15 was when I got out. And then I want to say I did a few dungeons until like 20, and then I decided to do this Pandaria. And from 20 to 50, I pretty much leveled up in the Jade Forest and then the Valley of the Four Winds. So it was kind of crazy. I could have probably started out there at like level 1 and still go from like level 1 to 50, well 10 to 50, because you can only go there when you're level 10. So it definitely makes it very easy to level in just the one expansion that I think is a little bit weird to level in. And maybe this is just me, but Cataclysm. There's so many zones, like easily 4 or 5, just like the other ones. I don't know if there's as many quests, so that's probably why they aren't able to do it as readily, but you can't go into any of the Cataclysm zones until level 30, which I feel like Vashir alone has enough quests to probably get you like 10 or 20 levels. So it kind of just seems weird to me. Oh, I already killed all these guys. It kind of just seems weird to me that they want us to be level 30 before going into any of the zones. But at the same time, and I'm probably one of the few people that might say this, I really like Cataclysm. So, me being able to experience the different zones on different characters, if anything, is a good thing. Because if I can get from level 30 to 50 in like one zone or 2 zones, it makes every leveling, like every character that I level up, it makes it a lot more engaging. So I think that was kind of that was more or less their goal with the time walking campaign, or the level squish, was to make it so that all these expansions can be experienced like 3 or 4 different ways on many different tunes, so everybody will have a bunch of ults. They definitely seem to want to encourage more ults this expansion, or in Shadowlands. Which, honestly, I don't have a problem with if it gives me more stuff to do. My main thing in BFA, the reason I never really made ults was because I really didn't like the grind that you had to do. The Azerite traits weren't so bad to fish for, but once you got to the point of like essences and what's it called, and like corruptions and the legendary cloak, and like you pretty much every ult you made, you had to start from square one. So it was really daunting anytime you made a character. It was still doable, but you know, you'd have to, you know, every essence that you got, the Azerite essences, you would have to farm each individual set of essences on every character. So it would be the same, like, it'd be the same grind on pretty much all of them. Granted, if it was like rep related, it made it a little bit quicker. But like, certain ones required you to do the raids multiple times on each character, or required you to do battlegrounds on each character, and I guess that's not too bad, but I feel like it would have been a lot easier if just when you earned it on one character, you earned it on them all. Oh, and I get to pick a talent here. I believe I should be going with it's either Holy Shield. I'm gonna do Blessed Hammer, or Blessed Hammer, because it has charges, and that way I can generate more holy power. Plus it's kinda cool to just have a spinning hammer. I think it looks cool. Also, while I'm here, let me bump up the quality for you guys a little bit and see if that'll do anything for you. Alrighty, so now we're gonna... Gosh, I mean, just going through this kind of does bring me back a little bit. Warlords of Draenor was one of the first expansions that I really seriously played in. Back in MOP, or Miss Pandaria, my friend showed me, I guess to go like fully back, I first was playing in Wrath of the Lich King, and this was back when I was like in my teens. I don't remember exactly when, but I want to say I was like 13, 14-ish, and was literally so young and such a noob at World of Warcraft that I never did any of the raids. I like barely did dungeons. I kind of just leveled up and farmed some professions on my character. But then again, I really only played like a couple hours every day. But I did get one character to endgame and did a few dungeons here and there. When Cataclysm hit, I actually started to play like regularly. I actually joined my first guild in Cataclysm, and I remember, I guess just to back up a little bit, I actually did take a break for like the beginning of Cataclysm, and I came back for Dragon Soul, and that's when I started actually raiding, and I played a Protection Paladin, funnily enough, and I enjoyed it. We did, I remember, the last thing I remember was doing heroic Hagara Stormbinder, and then I had to go away on vacation, and I think my raid spot got replaced. But that's okay. They were probably happy to get rid of me. I was probably a noob tank. I remember them saying I was decent enough, but I was like at this point like 15-ish, somewhere in that range. So I was still pretty new. But anyway, I did that for a while. I think the furthest I got was like I cleared all of normal, and I don't remember if I cleared all of heroic or not. I want to say I did, but I'm not certain. I did unfortunately I took another break, and I didn't play during Mists of Pandaria. But right at the end, my friend was showing me their elemental shaman, and they were just doing crazy damage, and it looked really fun. So I decided to start up my account and join his guild, and that was in Warlords of Draenor right at the start. So I remember doing all of this. It's pretty nostalgic to see it all again so many years later. I leveled up a Windwalker monk, and I played that pretty much for most of the expansion until like, gosh, I want to say, yeah, until like the final raid. That's when I started. I swapped to Discipline Priest because we needed a healer, and monk just was not doing super great towards the end. I may have just not been getting it, or maybe I was just still too new at the class, but my damage was really, really good in like Highwall and pretty decent at the start of like Blackrock Foundry, like the first couple raids. But then once Hellfire Citadel came out, my damage just kind of plummeted, and everyone else was doing way better than me, except for on like a couple fights. But so I decided to change up my class for the guild. Pardon me, I gotta adjust. You might hear my chair here. Sorry for that. Oh god, Blackhand. This guy, this is probably one of my favorite characters from Draenor. Like, I want to say he's my favorite. Like, I hate him as a villain, but just as a character, he was really, really cool. But, yeah, pretty much once Hellfire Citadel came out, I full swapped to Discipline Priest. And, that's pretty much from then on. I played I think I took a slight break in Legion. Or, no, I didn't. No, I did. Like, right at the beginning of Legion is when I, took a break. So for the first couple months I didn't play, and then I, logged back in and started raiding again. So I was there for, like, Emerald Nightmare and all those other raids. And then, in BFA, I definitely started from... I was there from the very start, and I will say it definitely hasn't been the greatest of expansions. I feel like there was a lot of missed opportunities. However, I still enjoyed my time because, you know, as cheesy as it sounds, World of Warcraft is just a very fun game to me. I meet a lot of really cool people and play with a lot of, and I make friends and just enjoy doing the content that they do have out there. So it is, it's not the worst, but it definitely is sad to see some of their shortcomings as of late. So I can only hope that they've learned from it, and Shadowlands will be even better than BFA. But that's kind of my short take on that. But I guess more on like Draenor and just my memories of this expansion. I really enjoyed Draenor. I thought it was pretty refreshing, some of the things that it did. The garrisons, when the garrisons were new and they weren't just like the mission tables and stuff, that was pretty new and it was really cool. There was a lot of different things you could get. There was a lot of references and pop culture stuff you saw in the garrisons. You could have very important NPCs like visit your garrison and whatnot, and it was just really cool to just kind of experience all that and see what exactly we could unlock and do. Seeing it in Legion was kind of cool too, because the whole Order Hall, I liked the class Order Hall, and just the whole aesthetic. And now it's kind of become a little bit overused, but I mean, hey, it's free stuff, so I guess it isn't really all that bad. But when it was new, it was definitely, a lot of people liked to harp on it for the garrisons, but that was to me, it was really fun. You had your own little base that you managed, and like you chose what buildings and even what NPCs that would be like your followers. Like you could, oh yeah, I remember. Let me see if I can find it in this dungeon, Upper Blackrock Spire. I'm sure if you've heard of World of Warcraft, you have heard of the legendary meme known as Leroy Jenkins. And in Warlords of Draenor, there is a side like mini objective you can do that was basically a reference to Leroy Jenkins. So you basically had to like speed run the dungeon and kill a boss, like a secret boss that was, I think, only supposed to be there during Classic. And if you killed the boss within a certain time limit, and if Leroy was like in the game, so if you protected Leroy and killed the boss, then you would get him as a follower, which I thought was very, very cool. Generate 1 holy power. Okay, cool. So now that generates holy power. That's very helpful. But that was just things like that. You can have all sorts of followers, and I just felt like the characters in this were very cool. And it was nice to see, like, I know Urel, the person we saved back in the mine, I really liked her. Black Hand was really cool. The guy that, I think his name was Arlock, that you may have noticed, or I don't think it was in this video, but it was just before the bridge that I was at. There was a guy that like sacrifices himself so that you guys could move on. Khadgar, and then a similarly named Kargath, the Blade Fist guy from the arena. That was pretty cool. I don't know, it's just, I feel like all the characters in this were very cool, and even the villains were somewhat badass. Not that the ones of today aren't, but it was all, I don't know. Again, I'm probably viewing it through a bit of nostalgia glasses, so I'm not saying that it is by far the best expansion, but it holds a special place for me because of just like it was where I started. So I can't really, I can't give it too much crap because it's kind of like, this is kind of what got me into the game, you know? I do remember, like, some more specific memories of mine. I remember when Highwall had come out on my server. It was a PvP server. I'm still on that server, so my server is a PvP server. And World PvP was a thing in Warlords. So there was a group of Alliance outside the entrance to Highwall, which was the first raid to be released. And they were basically camping the entrance so that nobody could get there. And my guild at the time was getting ready to go to raid, and we were just kind of getting absolutely destroyed by this pre-made. Like, they were very organized, and they had death knights that would just grip you into the middle of like 30 people. And our raid leader logged on, and we described the issue to him, and he said, we were all kind of like, what do we do? And he was like, alright. He kind of just gathered us all up and said, okay, I'm gonna death grip someone, and whoever I death grip, you murder them. He kind of did the same thing that they were doing, but he was a little bit, I gotta say, he was a little bit smarter about it, because they would just, the Alliance would just death grip whoever was in range, whereas our raid leader would death grip specifically the healers. And he would just do that over and over again, and eventually they ran out of healers to keep them up, and so we eventually were able to just bulldoze through them, and it was hilarious. I wish I still had it, but I took a picture of just the pile of skeletons that were outside of Highwall when we finished clearing out. I mean, it was like a 40-person raid. It was insane, but that was quite the way to start off our raid night, and I don't think we had anything quite to that grand of a scale for the rest of the expansion, but I do remember just I remember when I swapped to Discipline Priest, I did have another healer that liked to compete with me, which was kind of fun. He was always a very competitive person. And it was just kind of funny because Discipline Priest, I don't know if it still behaves like this, but back in Warlords of Draenor, it was vastly different from how it is now. Nowadays, it's like you have this thing called Atonement, and you have to do damage to heal. Back in Warlords, you didn't even really have to do that. You just placed a bunch of shields on people. And basically all you would do is put a big shield on the tanks and then just throw a bunch of bubbles on the rest of the raid. And so if everyone was at full health, you would technically be healing the most, because it counted all of your bubbles as healing. So you would kind of like snipe heals from other healers because your bubble was on them. It was just kind of funny, because whenever I was throwing out a lot of shields, my healer friend would get frustrated with me, jokingly of course, but he would always, be like, gosh, why are you shielding so much, or why do the shields give you healing? You keep sniping all my heals, man. So it was kind of fun, like all those kinds of raids and that little bit of competition with the healer. When I did swap, what's it called? I guess my main complaint when it comes to Warlords for me was just the content drought near the end. I kind of feel like a lot of the content came out really, really quickly. And we had a new raid like every other month, or at least it felt like it was every other month. I don't remember the exact release dates, but they were coming out so quick we barely had time to clear out the raids on Heroic. Now, when exactly a super competitive guild. We were casual, but it was still kind of like crazy how we'd only be like halfway through. We got through all of Highwall, and then Blackrock Foundry came out, which was like a 12 boss raid. And that's a really big raid. Once that raid came out, we saw Hellfire Citadel, which was equally as big, like not that far behind it, and we were just like, how are we even gonna have time? We like barely made it to Blackhand.
Too far away.
Oh, did I get all of them? Okay, I think I got all of them. But yeah, I just remember us getting so much content so quickly, which I guess is a good problem to have, but it ended up kind of biting us in the butt because actually I'll let this cutscene play. Oh man. Just seeing all these guys, like right there, this was like such a cool thing.
Look then upon the countless faces of your demise. Rise up, Iron Horde! Bring your war chief their heads.
And then here comes the part where we gotta run away.
Fire away!
We're in the middle of we're technically in the past and we gotta get the heck out of here.
Run to the docks!
Literally, we're just running as we're getting bombarded.
Come at me, Hellspray! Don't be a fool, Gunnar. Run! We will fight another day.
I guess that's another thing that I like about Blessed Hammer. You can throw it as you run and it deals damage. But as I was kind of saying before, just I think I remember us getting through Hellfire Citadel, and even we still cleared it like before the next like expansion easily, and we still had like a year and a half before the next expansion came out. It was some crazy amount of time. I'm gonna adjust real quick again. Sorry if you hear the squeak of my chair. So yeah, it was definitely a long time before we saw the before we saw Legion. And that was part of the reason why I was gone for the beginning of Legion, was because it had been so long that I think I just didn't even realize that I just stopped keeping tabs on the game. I didn't even realize at the time that the next expansion had come out. And this one's gonna be a new one because I think I've only ever done the Alliance Garrison like one other time and I didn't even finish it all the way. But we have been going for quite some time and I'm gonna go ahead and stop for the time being. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful day and we will see you in the next video. Bye now.